everyone! Today I'm going to be telling you guys how to pass your driver's test on the first try. So I will be going over what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and also this DMV scoring sheet about like each section and what the process is like, and also what I did personally, and then give you a little bit of some tips on how to pass your driver's test. So I'm going to start off with how I felt before the test. So I actually got my permit quite a while ago, but I just was busy with school, so I didn't end up taking lessons with my driving instructor until a couple months later. So we didn't actually schedule the appointment until May, the end of May, and it was kind of scary because my permit was expiring. My permit is expiring soon, so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to make my appointment, and like, what if I like fail, and then I have to like make another appointment, and what if they're all booked and stuff. And it was just a really stressful situation because I wasn't sure on how I was supposed to like make my next step. But I just like thought to myself, deep breath, take the test and just see what happens first, and then decide accordingly once the results come out if you pass or you fail. So that was kind of my mindset going into the test. So now I'm going to be talking about what I kind of did. So first I had my lessons, my 6 complete hours with my driving instructor. I think it's 6, yeah. And then I also practiced a lot with my parents, driving them to like eat dinner or just driving them around to the grocery store, so I got some extra practice. And then I also texted my instructor so many times asking random questions, like not random, but like questions I just wasn't sure about. So I just really was getting that practice and stuff, which is really important before you take your driver's test so you feel confident. So that's kind of like my mindset going into, that was kind of what I did before the test. Now I'm going to be transitioning over to the entire process of taking the driver's test. I just took it today, so everything is really fresh off my mind, so let me just tell you guys what happened. So my driving appointment was at 2:40 p.m. today, and I basically drove with my mom to get the extra practice into the DMV, or to the DMV, and we got there around 2:15ish, and we just parked regularly in the parking lot. And then we went inside to check in, and that was like the longest wait time of the entire experience of taking my driver's test, was the line to like check in. That was actually the longest process in terms of taking my driver's test, was actually waiting in line to check in and get the paperwork ready. So it was like kind of annoying because I'm like, it's like almost 2:40 and stuff, and the person behind me actually had their appointment at 2:30, so he actually went in front of us to check in. But it was no big deal because we didn't actually wait that long, so it was okay. And when we got to the check-in area, they had to look at our permit, which looks kind of like this, and also our yellow sheet of paper, which certifies that we completed all, I believe, 6 hours of driving with our driving instructor. And they also need to look at your car registration and information to make sure that everything works and the VIN code matches up and everything. So remember to bring that when you do take your driving test. And I also wasn't sure if I needed to bring like my birth certificate or passport, so we ended up bringing both of them, but they didn't even look at that. So I think that as long as you have all the previous information that I mentioned, you'll be fine and set to go. And so that was basically the check-in process, and they like stapled a couple sheets together and information, and I think that was about it. And then they gave us this big number, minus number 25, and it was laminated, and they kind of clipped it all together, and he said that go put your car in one of the designated spots for the driving test, and put that pamphlet, or not pamphlet, but like the giant pile of like papers and the 25, laminated 25 thing, on the windshield or the dashboard, and roll down your window, and the driving instructor person will come over and stuff like that. So we were just waiting there, and previously my sister, when she took the test, she had to wait like an hour, and I know some other people who had to sit in their car and wait for an hour, so we were just kind of like waiting to wait for a while. But our instructor actually came over really quickly, and it was like a rush after that check-in. It was like everything went by super quick, and it was kind of a blur, but I do remember parts of it. So we got in, so she came over, and then she started telling me like her name, Lillian, and she was like, she asked me to sign a piece of paper, which was this one right here, my name, and read over like the part about to pass, you must not have more than 3 errors marked for items 9 through 14 under the pre-drive checklist, and no marks in the critical driving error section, and no more than 15 errors marked for the scoring maneuvers, which I will go over in a little bit. So then she made me turn on the basics like the left signal, the right signal, emergency brakes, point to my headlights, and also my windshield wipers, and like the defrosters, and also the emergency like triangle thing and stuff like that, and also like the parking brake and stuff, just to make sure that the car was functional and we'd be able to use it for the driving test. So that was pretty much it, and we only waited like 5 minutes for it to come, so it was like really quick. But I also watched a bunch of YouTube videos, which I personally don't really recommend because it kind of psyched me out, and I was like, wait, do I do this? Because when you think about it, if you practice enough and you followed all the tips that your instructor has given you, your driving instructor, then you should be set to go, and you shouldn't be like watching videos and then that makes you more confused, because that's kind of what happened to me. I was like, wait, can I do this? So just trust your instincts and also have a lot of common sense as to if you should go or if you should wait for the cars to pass. So basically we just drove on our route and it was pretty chill. For me, I only had one error, which I will talk about right now. So we were just driving, and this was in the residential area. It was like a four-way intersection, except the way I was going, there were stop signs on my side and the side opposite to me. But in the side, which was perpendicular to me, there was no stop signs, so they had right of way. However, I guess I didn't do another traffic check after I fully stopped at the stop sign. So I kind of went forward, and this blue pickup truck was just going straight. So I quickly like stopped on the brakes and let them pass, and then I continued forward. But this was when I was like, oh shoot, did I just fail? Because I wasn't sure if that counted as one of the critical driving errors, and it was definitely my fault because they had the right of way because we had stop signs. So I was so scared when she told me to pull over to the side after we crossed the intersection, because I was like, oh no, she didn't tell me like head back to the DMV or you failed because you let that happen or whatever. But as soon as I pulled to the side, she was like, we're gonna do the reverse backing part of the test. So I was like, oh my gosh. But it was really scary because I was still kind of shaking because I was like, did I just fail? So it went kind of slowly, but my instructor person was actually really nice. So she didn't really take off any marks, and I guess I drove pretty well, so she didn't have to either. But that was pretty much it, and I just remembered to signal and to always check over my shoulder and stuff like that, just the basic driving etiquette that you need to pass the test. And that's kind of basically how the driving test went, and also definitely check the speed to see what kind of speed I was going at, because when she first got into my car, she like pulled her seat backwards, or not pulled, but like she moved her seat backwards so she had a better view of seeing the speed and everything. So definitely when you're taking your test, check the speed and make sure you're going at a reasonable speed, and also according to the driving signs, because those are really important. So that's basically what happened. And then we went back to the DMV, and she just made me drive, and then she made me turn. She's like, you can park anywhere. So I just parked anywhere. She's like, you can turn off your engine. So I turned off my engine, and then she was like, she said something about like, so you passed, and you only had one mistake, and that was in the residential section, which I mentioned earlier about the stops and the right of way of the pickup truck. And I was like, okay. And she was like, just look at the improvement checklist part about look both ways for the traffic check. And that's pretty much it. And then I just went inside to the DMV, and I gave her my papers and stuff, and I passed. So she told me that she gave me one of these interim driver's license. It's like a temporary driver license that you're going to use for around 2 to 4 weeks while you're driving. Your actual license is being shipped to you. So that was pretty much my experience, and it went by really quickly, but I'm just glad it's off my chest and it's over with. And yeah, I'm also going to go over this real quick in case you guys wanted to know what it's about. So it's just a driving performance evaluation score sheet, which she will, also the back part, which doesn't really matter, just for her to like point if you have any questions in the beginning. But basically there's a pre-drive checklist, a critical error section, and also one of the scoring maneuvers, such as the parking lot driving. We didn't do the freeway or the highway. The intersections, business or urban or residential rural areas, lane change, backing, and turns. And there's like left turns and right turns. And there's stuff like traffic check, signal, speed, control, yield, lane use, a necessary stop. So basically, if you're driving for your test and you see them like look down and like scribble or something, it might not necessarily be that they're taking points off. They're just circling that you made like a left lane change or a right lane change, and it's just like how many you do. And only if they make like slashes, it means that you didn't complete it right, such as like right here for my one mistake was the traffic check, because I didn't look again to see that car coming, but that was only a minor mistake, so I did end up passing with only one mistake. So those are kind of the tips and tricks. Just make sure to always follow your instincts, use common sense, and also follow the basic driving etiquette, such as, for example, like changing lanes, you have to look over your shoulder and signal, of course, and also don't look at the speed and stuff like that, and just the basic stuff that we learn. We just have to keep it in mind when we're taking the test, and also make full stops behind the stop lines and also any red lights. I hope you guys keep that in mind when you take your driving test, or if you just watch this for fun, or you take it in the future, and maybe you'll use some of these tips. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.